Welcome back to Hannity. Donald Trump, he's going to join us in just a few minutes. But first, earlier today, an unhinged President Obama, well, he lashed out at Donald Trump and those who dare to question why he refuses to use the simple term radical Islam. Watch this.
For a while now, the main contribution of some of my friends on the other side of the aisle have made in the fight against ISIL is to criticize this administration and me for not using the phrase radical Islam. This is a political distraction, and that kind of yapping has not prevented folks across government from doing their jobs, disrupting plots, and protecting all Americans, including politicians who tweet and appear on cable news shows. We now have proposals from the presumptive Republican nominee for President of the United States to bar all Muslims from emigrating to America. And if we fall into the trap of painting all Muslims with a broad brush and imply that we are at war with an entire religion, then we are doing the terrorist work for them.
Here with reaction, author of See Something, Say Nothing, a Homeland Security officer exposes the government's submission to jihad. Former DHS employee Philip Haney. Philip, now you started working for DHS in what, 2003, correct?
Yes, I was a founding member of DHS.
And part of your job is you were looking for terror ties. For example, you would identify people with terror links. In the early 2000s, you were profiling people with links to all of these terror groups. That was your job, right?
Yes, we were connecting the dots. We were focusing on individuals and organizations, networks across both the United States and with affiliations in foreign countries.
Then 6 years into your tenure in 2009, you were ordered to scrub the records of Muslims with these terror ties by our government. Who told you to do that?
I was directed from DHS headquarters. It's important to keep in mind that that was 1 year after the November 2008 Holy Land Foundation trial, the largest terror trial in American history, that irrefutably proved that these individuals from the Muslim Brotherhood front groups were in direct financial support of Hamas.
And that's, that's the trial where CARE was named as an unindicted co-conspirator, if I'm not mistaken.
As along with Islamic Society of North America and the North American Islamic Trust, three major groups.
Okay, so you were doing your job, identifying individuals, you built up a computer database, Obama becomes president, you are literally ordered to scrub the names of Muslims with terror ties that you had worked so hard to find. You believe you could have stopped what happened in Orlando and San Bernardino had you not been ordered by Obama's DHS to do this. Is that true?
Well, that was the first, what I call the first great purge. That was in 2009 with more than 800 records. The case that I'm referring to about stopping the San Bernardino and now related to the Orlando was 3 years later in 2012. It was a larger case called the Tablighi Jamaat Initiative, and it was another network separate from, but related to in some ways, the Muslim Brotherhood network that we just talked about.
So, in the case of San Bernardino, it was Saeed Farouk and his wife. You had identified that mosque as a place where you believe we should have been paying attention to, correct?
There's an entire network of those kind of mosques across the United States, and I found out a couple of days ago that the mosque in Fort Pierce is also related to the same network. Two big cases now.
Let me ask you bluntly, could San Bernardino, but you were doing this great work, and I applaud you for what you have done. You were told to scrub, literally, the records of Muslims with terror ties. You had to do your job or you'd be fired. Do you believe in your heart that the information you had gathered, if you had kept that information, you might have been able to prevent the terrorist attacks in both San Bernardino and Orlando?
Well, to clarify, I wasn't told to scrub. My agency deleted them themselves. But yes, I believe I have a plausible premise that we could have stopped it by two major ways. Either Syed Farouk would have been put on the no-fly list and not allowed to travel, or his pending fiancée would have been denied a visa because of his affiliation with an organization with plausible ties to terrorism. That's at least two different ways.
Can I repeat this one other way? You did your job and other people did their jobs and in comes the Obama administration, and they wipe out all the work that could have potentially saved the lives of Americans. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it's a fair statement. My records were tagged, and I got an email from all 67 of them when they were deleted, and they came back to my inbox exactly the moment when they were entirely deleted from the system.
Oh, my God. This is unconscionable. Phil Haney, thank you for telling the truth and speaking out. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It shocks the conscience.
Tonight, a mysterious twist in the death investigation of a government whistleblower. His body found in Amador County.
His death, first believed to be suicide, but now investigators are backtracking.
CBS 13's Rick Boone with what detectives are now saying.
66-year-old Philip Haney, a former DHS officer, was known in D.C. circles as a person who never held back his opinions, even about his boss, President Barack Obama.
I was told to remove all unauthorized references to terrorism.
Testifying to Congress as a whistleblower about Obama, claiming that the then president was not taking the threat of terrorism seriously.
I would like to show you now the logo of the Muslim Brotherhood, the moderate organization that this administration chose to ally itself with.
In 2016, Haney even wrote a book, See Something, Say Nothing, highlighting his concern.
We've been inundated with a lot of theories of what may have taken place. You know, we're looking at everything.
Haney was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in Amador County over the weekend.
Everything we saw on scene is consistent with somebody putting a gun to themselves and pulling the trigger. Now, we're not making a statement that this was in fact suicide.
Previous reports did indicate Haney's death was a suicide, but deputies haven't made that determination as of yet. His body was found in a car in this park and ride that's along Highway 16. It's less than 3 miles from where he lived in an RV park. Investigators are not saying if foul play was involved. Deputies say it is a standard to analyze these type of incidents before any ruling can be made.
Every death that occurs in the county, when it comes to something like this, we treat and look at it as a homicide until we prove otherwise.
Now, the FBI is part of this ongoing investigation, and we're told an autopsy will happen very soon.